So Andrew, thank you very much for Veritas hosting tonight's evening. Just coming back on what you presented to us and the group earlier this evening, some of the key takeaways that we had was obviously the influence of AI. How is that affecting Veritas and the recruitment industry in the scoping and of potential candidates?
It's a great question, Ben. The most important thing with AI is there's a negative perception that it's going to take roles. It's going to take away the recruiting process. It's going to devalue what we do, and recruitment will become redundant. But what we've learned is AI can only get so far. The human element is absolutely key. We spoke about culture. We spoke about understanding what the underbelly of a business is and how it ticks. AI can't do that. So AI, yes, it could be a negative sort of thing, but I look at it as a positive. And with AI, I guess doing the back-end operations, it allows us to deal with the human aspect and put the right people in the right environment.
And I think that's great advice for potential candidates that are out there in the market. And probably coming back to that is obviously there's a lot of movement in the market, especially in the logistics and freight forwarding space. What are some of your key advices for candidates that are potentially looking to shake up their career, move on to new adventures? What would be some key advices that you would give them to be a lead candidate in some of these roles?
That's a great question. It's a question that we didn't address when we were speaking. Candidates come to us for different reasons. One, it might be it's time for a change. Two, they don't like their manager. Three, it's the money. The latest one is work-life balance. So the biggest thing we have is we have a candidate come to us and we go, right, are you ready to go? And they're not really sure because they'll reach out to us usually on a knee-jerk reaction. And the biggest one is, if I was to offer you a job tomorrow, are you ready to go? That's the biggest one. Then we have to deal back to the motivators. Usually it comes back to those sort of things. Am I getting the work-life balance? Am I getting paid enough? Is there a projection of a pay rise? And then it might be, I don't like my boss. Or maybe my co-workers. Usually it's my boss. In forwarding, a lot of people sort of get into roles that they might not be necessarily qualified for, maybe micromanage or whatever it may be. So it's understanding what the motivator is to then understand, are they ready to go? Then we go back to the culture and understanding the right business and where they can go to from there. So it's quite a complex, I call it a matrix, but there's no right or wrong way to do it. It's trying to drill down understanding what the core motivation is.
And as a business owner myself, or anyone that's looking to recruit, what is your probably key advice of individuals and companies and organisations of like ourselves or like myself, how can we attract the best talent to our business?
Understand your culture, understand your business, understand what makes you good at what you do, but understand what you do as an owner to make people feel welcome. That is the biggest thing. It's the start and the finish. Because if you don't understand who you are and what you're about, how can you articulate that to me? How can I articulate it to a potential candidate? And then how can you convince a candidate that's who you are? That's the biggest one. You've got to understand your culture, your identity, what you're about. I use sporting analogies a lot, and you've got to understand what the core reason you're doing what you're doing, and then why you're better than the next person. Because as we know in forwarding, there's 400 forwarders in Melbourne. So as an emerging sort of business, there might be 10, 20, 30, 40 businesses that are at the same sort of profile. What stands out, what you do versus the others? And the key to it is that often the candidate is interviewing the client, not as much as the other way around, but the balance is almost 50-50 in a market where candidates have multiple options.
And I think the last question from me, mate, is what's the benefits of Veritas sponsoring an event like ATLC, such as this evening? to get other companies and suppliers, and are they involved in such an association? What's the benefits for you? And this is my last question, I promise.
No, that's fine, mate. I got all night. The multi's on, we're right. The benefit is not so much trying to chase business or going after a specific vertical. For us, it's more about just creating that awareness. That there are recruiters out there that care, that we're happy to build a profile, we're happy to have a conversation. I love nothing better than talking about our world to people where there might not be an economic benefit for me. I love talking freight. I love talking logistics. I love talking about what I'm seeing from you, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 other different companies. I just love talking about what's going on. So the benefit for us is a night to get out and connect with different people. And for us, we haven't spoken for 2.5, 3 years. It's great to see yourself. It's great to see some couple other people from direct couriers that I haven't seen for 2 or 3 years as well. I just love getting out and talking, and you know what? If some business comes out of it, wonderful. If it doesn't, the worst thing we've done is had a beer and had a great night out with good people.
Yeah, thanks, Andrew, and look, thanks to Veritas for sponsoring the event tonight. As a new business owner myself, really appreciate having the opportunity to network with people and individuals like yourselves and Veritas. Great evening, and thank you very much again for sponsoring the event.
Cheers, Ben.
Thanks.